All right, we're going to talk about an active trader, my favorite feature of Thinkorswim. When I first found out that TD Ameritrade was going to have free trading, I kid you not, I could not sleep for like 2 days. I think the first night I found out, I actually slept like 3 hours, and the next night I slept like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I was just thinking so much of the probabilities and was thinking of all the different ways that I can use the active trader. This is what I've been dreaming of. I've been using it for more than 2 years. Have spent a lot of time learning this platform with the hope of one day having enough money to be able to not care about commissions. Okay, so by the time this happened, it was a great surprise and all that. So let's get to it. So right here on the right side is where I have my active trader, and you can put yours wherever you think it fits better. You can actually put it in different sides, but I like it here on the right side. This is where you actually can place orders. There is a different way that you can place your orders, and it's very old school. So you would be basically making a lot of clicks, entering quantities, choosing what type of order you want. If you want it to be a market order, a limit order, pre-market, aftermarket. There's a lot of clicking. There's a lot of typing, and then confirming your trade, and then actually sending your trade for execution, sending your trade for it to be filled. That is an old school way of doing it. Active trading, or for professional level trading, you're going to want something faster, something quicker. So active trader is actually that feature that allows you to do that. So right here, you're able to see, first up here on the top, you're able to see the buy and sell buttons. Okay, I specifically have them as buy market and a sell market. If you go here to the right, you're able to change all these buttons to the buttons that you want. So if you click here in this little settings wheel, you'll see this screen here, and you'll see all the different options, different buttons that you can add right here to your left. And then once you put them over here, you can move them up and down. Let's say you click on reverse and you want to move it down, you would click move down, or you want to move it up, change the position of how it looks over here. The ones that I use are the market orders. And I know a lot of people like to do limit orders and be very specific on their entries and exits and all that. But for penny stocks and for the way that I trade, I've found that I want to for sure be filled. Okay, if you put in a limit order, or you send your order as a limit order, there is the danger of not being filled. So basically, you put in your order and you're basically in line to get filled. And most of the times, you get filled right away when that price hits, but sometimes it's not guaranteed. Now, there's also dangers with market orders. If you're looking at a stock that is currently at $1 and let's say $1.05, and you're wishing to have a market order be filled at $1.05, you click market by market. You won't necessarily get filled at that price unless that price is being held, currently being filled at 105 at that exact second. But let's say once you click, that actually changes to 108 or 110, or actually 1 or 99 cents. You will be filled for sure most of the times, and I will talk about why that's not always a promise either, but you will be filled to what the market allows you to be filled. So you basically will put in line, and when it's your turn, you will be filled. But most of the time, I don't have a big issue. I don't have a big issue with being filled. If I see the price at 105, I don't have a big issue being filled at 106, 107, 108, 109. It doesn't make a huge difference. Now, sometimes it has happened to me that the price has drops when I get filled. Sometimes that's a good thing. If the stock goes up, then hey, you bought a cheaper price. But if you get filled at 109 and it only goes up 5 cents, then you take smaller profits. So I like it because for penny stocks move so fast. I wanted to I want to for sure get in when I kind of want to that around that price, and I want to get out around a price. Doesn't have to be specific. Now, in exiting, it's a little different. I do like to use stop losses, which are pretty similar, but we will talk about that in a little bit. So once you decide what type of buttons you have, and you can have you can have limit orders and you can have market orders. You can have as many buttons as you want here. The buttons that I use are these. The cancel button, I actually don't use it, so I'm going to remove that. You click here and then you remove. All right, you press OK and you see how it got removed from here. The other button that I keep here is the flatten. The flatten basically is if you put in an order, market order, and you got filled and you want to just close your orders. So just sell immediately, no matter if you have a lot of brackets. If you have 3-4 brackets, it's gonna sell all the stocks at a market order immediately. Okay, and I use this sometimes when the stocks are going too fast. And let's say I buy a stock at $1 and it spikes to like 130 in like seconds. Sometimes, a lot of the times I just sell. If the stock went up 20-30%, for me, in my mind, there's a chance that maybe it gets dropped right after that. So sometimes I just sell it. If it meets my goal, if it's like a quick big gain, I take it. Okay, and if the stock keeps going up, that's great. That's great for whoever catches it. But my goal was to reach my goal of certain percentage or certain amount of money. So that's when I would use the flatten. But usually when the stock's not moving as fast, I would make different movements to make sure that I not only take those profits, but let some of those shares ride if possible. If the pattern, if the stock is still going up, I want to be able to capitalize a little more on that, even with a smaller position. Now this reverse one is a button that I don't use. It's basically a button that you will use if you ever go to the dark side, which is shorting stocks. So it actually flips your order from buying to actually selling it, so that you can start shorting the stock. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't use it, and I don't plan to use it in a long time. We will remove it the same way. Let's look for the reverse. I really wish the reverse button would just take back your back trades. If a forgiven button to reverse your trade if you did it wrong. That would be amazing. But no. So let's click on reverse, remove item, and then press OK. All right, so we have those 3 buttons are the only ones I use. Then you have your order quantities. Okay, how many stocks do you want to buy? 1, 10, 100, 1,000 at a time. You want to be able to identify the quantity. If let's say you have $1,000 and the stock is currently at $2. Are you going to use $200 of that? Are you going to use $500 of that? Or are you going to use your whole quantity, which I usually don't recommend? I would, need these buttons to kind of figure out how much. So if I want to use, I want to buy 100 shares, let's say it's $2 stock, then you can decide how many shares you can buy here. So, and then right here is the quantity of stocks that you're actually buying. So I have it by increments of 5, and then I actually decided what these were also. So by increments of 5, it just automatically puts 5 in there. But if I were to say, I want 15, I can either click here twice and go to 15, or I can immediately go to 10 and then click 1. Okay, say I want 45. You can go to 50 and then do a minus click to 45. So you can quickly get to the quantity that you want for your trade. This part actually you can edit in, and sorry, it's not going to show in the recording, but on the top of your screen it says setup. We click on where it says setup, application settings, and you click on application settings, and you go to order defaults right here. Okay, and here you're able to set up the order quantity increments and also the default quantity of orders. So I like my increments to be of 5 just because the price range that I usually trade is between $1 and $10. I feel that's the appropriate size. So, but if you wanted to change that, you could change it here. You can type a number. You could choose some of the preset ones. Okay, so we'll leave that like that and click apply settings. Now over here it says template. This basically tells you what type of order you want to set. So if you're gonna just buy 50 shares of a certain stock, you would put 50, a single order, just buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell whenever you want, whenever you feel it's a good time to do that. The other options are you can do a bracket. Basically what you can do with the bracket is say, I want to set a take profit and a stop loss with my order. Let's say I want to buy 50 shares at $1. I want to sell, let's say if the stock goes up 10%, I want to be able to sell those 50 shares. I want to be able to sell it at 10%. So you would go to this first bracket line, okay, and that would be a limit order once it sells because you're being specific with the percentage or the number. I like to go with percentages, so if you click right here it says plus and minus, and you can click it to where it says percentage right there. So then you would click up to 10%. All right, if it goes up, I want to sell at 10% profit. And if it goes down, I want to sell at you go to percent again. There you go, percent. Now I want to sell at a 3% loss. So if the stock is at $1, you buy 50 shares. Once it drops to 3%, I want to be selling that. I want it to automatically become a stop loss at 3% and sell, or a limit order at 10%. And you can change those to whatever you want to, whatever fits you, whatever. But something that's very cool is this is just like a single bracket. So you have basically 3 orders: the purchase, the sell, and the stop loss. Now it's very important to know that once one gets executed, one of these two, the other automatically cancels, obviously, right? If your stock sells at 3%, your limit order to sell at 10% profit just gets canceled. So that's obvious. So that's just a one bracket, but you also have the option to do one with 2 brackets, or 3 brackets is the most that you can do here. So let's do the 2 bracket one. So basically the same thing. I'm going to change these to percentages just because I like working with percentages. Oh. And I keep pausing it. Okay, so percentages. All right, so you buy 50 shares of whatever stock, and then it's going to create, as you can see there in the bottom, it's going to split your order in half. Okay, so you're buying 50, but one bracket is going to be using 25, and the other bracket is going to be using the other 25. So once I put my mouse here where it says buy market, you're able to see down below in the ladder where that would happen. And obviously if the price is moving, those would move with it until you actually execute. Now the cool thing about this is, let's say there's a certain play that you always like to do. You always like to buy 50 shares and you like it to be in 2 brackets. And let's say you want to take profit at 6% on both of them. and have a stop loss of 2%. Okay, and you want to use this bracket a lot. What you can do is press this little icon here, and you click here, and you can actually save that. So I can name it, 2 bracket, and I can say 6% profit and 3% loss. Okay. Oh, it's too long. So let's just leave it. Let's put it together. Loss. There we go. You save it. All right. So you're able to just go back to that here and actually just add it here in your menu for your brackets. So you click here in your brackets, and you go down here, and here it is. So let's go to the just single one that we were using. But if you click here, you want to use that bracket that we just created. You find it right here. And you can do as many as you want, depending on the strategies that you have. So something that's also very important to mention is that you're gonna want to have this auto send button activated, okay? Because if you don't, what ends up happening is you would click here on buy, whatever your order type is, and then a box would appear right here in the bottom to confirm your order. It would make you, I believe, click twice before your order goes through. You have to confirm that what you are putting in this order is what you want. So you would set this up, click here, there's an additional click, and then a submit. That takes a long time. And when you're day trading penny stocks, you want to spend the least time in the actual tools, and you want to be able to go in and out as fast as you can. So if you click this auto send, then that box will not appear, and your order will go immediately without asking you for a confirmation. Now be very careful, because you can mess up by clicking the wrong thing or sending the wrong quantity, which actually has happened to me. One time I wanted to buy 100 shares of some stock, and I accidentally had just traded a smaller stock. I think it was under $1, and so the quantity was 800 shares, but I forgot to change it for this one, so I ended up buying 800 shares of this larger stock. So I actually was buying a lot more, and I put in risk my account for a few seconds because of that mistake. I quickly sold it because I realized how big that trade was. But it was a learning experience. I didn't lose any money, but it is something that happened to me. So before you try doing this, make sure that you're practicing with small quantities or your paper trading, using that fake money that you can do in this platform also. Okay, and once you get confident, then this becomes natural, and it's not a problem. It hasn't been a problem ever since, and I really like to just be able to click and automatically send your orders. All right, so let's keep going here on the next section. So let's go back to just one bracket. All right, and just let me make something. No. Okay, so then we go to this area right here. You can actually add and delete these columns right here, but I am actually just gonna leave them as is because that's how I use them. This is basically how many shares I bought during the day of this stock. I bought 1,600 shares and I sold 1,600 shares. This is how many shares are actually open during this specific time. And I'm going to show you an example in a little bit. But since they all sold, it's going to show that my position is flat. I don't have any open positions. I'm not swinging, 300 shares. I'm not swinging it for the next day. Okay, that's just, I sold all of them. This right here is your average price. If you buy a stock at $1, you buy 100 shares at $1, and then the price goes up and down and you buy more shares or you sell some, your average price is gonna be changing, especially if you scale in and out of your trades. So this is your average price. Now the average price will be highlighted, and I will show you in a little bit. And this is how many. What is your P&L? Your open. So in a dollar amount, what's the open position? And because I sold all of them, it's gonna show 0 right now, and this is the profit for your day. You're gonna want to keep these as green always. So I'm gonna leave those like that, and I'm gonna show you an example here. And I thought the best way to do that was to just take a screenshot of one of the videos that I made, so that I'm able to talk to you about it. So let's put this here. All right. So this is actually a screenshot of me using the active trader. So the same thing. This shows you how many shares you bought total, how many have you sold, how many you still have open, your average price, and you can see it's $8.10. This is your average price, and I know it shows $8.14 over here. It's not an error. What happens is that when you are looking at your ladder of price, you can see that there's gaps in between from 29 cents to 34 cents. There's 5 cents difference. If you go here and click on the plus sign, you're able to zoom in into the price, and so you'll be able to see actually the 8.10, 8.11, and 8.12 and all that. So because I zoomed out to be able to see more a farther out picture, this is why that's showing. But the average price is still $8.10. Okay, basically I was trying to look out so that I can see where I wanted to place my stop loss, and you can't see it here, but I was willing to lose, I believe, $15, because at that $15 loss, I was still gonna end with $90 of profit, about $91 of profit, if that were to happen. So I looked at the chart, I looked at the candles, I looked at the previous pullback, and I said that's where I would sell if it drops to that position. And it actually ended up being that I actually made some more money than this, and I actually ended up moving, as the stock went up, I moved the stop loss up to my average price, and then I think a little more after that. But that's basically how that works. And very quick, the times and shares that's on the side of my active trader, this is where all the orders from everybody are going in and out. And this screenshot shows that they were all green. It rarely looks like that unless it's really, really spiking up. But this basically, at this precise moment and second, there were a lot of buy orders going in and trying to break this price of 8.44. If you can see, there's different colors here. Now, this darker gray area means that during that trading day, the price has not reached that price or has not gone higher than that. And it would also be down here in the bottom. Okay, so let's say it hasn't dropped underneath 7.89. This right here would be in a darker gray than this area, which is white. That means that during the day, the price has been around that area. Now, I really like this because when I'm buying, let's say on a pullback, and the pullback was really close to the lowest of the day, I like to place my stop loss right underneath. Let's say this was darker, 7.89, I would put it at 7.84, just because I know that the drop to the lower of the day takes a little more, I don't know if effort from the sellers than actually just dropping from, let's say, from 8.29 to 8.19, because that price has already been visited during the day. So, but if it's a price that hasn't been touched yet, it would take a little more effort from people that are shorting or they're taking profits to actually break that. So that gift is kind of like like a support for me. Same way over here with a resistance. You can call this a resistance for that day or for that spike. So you can actually, if you're trying to buy a breakout, and I have done this before, is I would place a limit order, not over here. I would set the quantity over here on the top, but then I would manually click in here so that this order or whatever bracket or whatever actually gets in this ladder as a limit purchase to, let's say, 854. And that's just me saying, if the price breaks and goes to a higher high of the day, I wanted to buy right at the breakout, with the idea that the breakout will bring momentum and the price will keep going up for a little bit, okay? And then you can make moves or sell right after that. So that's why I like these different colors here. Now, this area right here, you're actually able to change. Initially in your setup, you will not have, actually you would have the volume and you would not have the P&L open. So let me put this on the side for a second and let me show you. So right here, these little bars, columns, this is what initially you would see. I personally have no interest in looking at the volume in my active trader. I know other people like it and they like to reference to it to kind of imagine resistance points and support areas. So I don't use it. My trading is too quick to be able to go back and forth and look at the volume and see what's going. I actually have my volume right here, and this is not how I have it set up in my own. When I'm actually trading, I will show you. I actually have the volume with the charts, and I have the bars be either green or red depending which the volume, which is the majority of that bar. You go here to these settings and you go customize. If you want to remove that volume bar, you click here, you go remove, and I'm gonna add the P&L open. And P&L open, add item. Okay, I want that at the end right here. All right, so the P&L open actually shows you possible profits or possible losses. And let me bring that picture back so you can see that again. So, oops, that's fine. All right, so right here, as you can, this is your average price, and this is your possible profits. So right now, the profit at that exact second is showing at $8.41, and that's where the price is right now. This is where you bought, or your average price. Right here shows that, $8.41. If you were to sell right there, that's the profit that you would take, which is what shows right here in the open. And the same thing with a stop loss. So I personally like to see my stop losses when I put them in a bracket. I like to put them in a percentage, but when I'm manually going to move them, I like to see the actual P&L over here. The purple lines are the potential losses. So let's say the stock is right here and I have $8. I tell myself, I'm only going to risk the $8 there in profit because I'm already up 106, and I'm going to risk, $3 more to give it some space, because sometimes you get little sell-offs or pullbacks, and you got to give some room for that noise, because that's just natural. The stock is not just going to keep on going up. It needs to have pullbacks. I would just put my stop loss immediately. Visually, I can see, the $3 or $4 right here, and I would just click here immediately. And then I'm able to move it up and down if I want. And like I said, if this stock goes up, one of the first things I do is I move my stop loss to my even price. And that way I secure that I actually not going to lose any more. I might lose some of the gains that are here, but my trade is not going to be, I'm not going to lose more than what I can see here currently open as a profit. That's what I was trying to say. All right, so let me remove this from here. Let's say if you want to do a pre-market order or aftermarket order, you have to add another feature. This only works with regular market hours at this point, how it's set up right now. But if you want to do pre-market or aftermarket, you actually have to add another feature here. So you go to the settings and you go to, and this one actually took me a while to figure out. I actually called TD Ameritrade and talked to the quote-unquote experts and asked them about how to trade pre-market, and I kid you not, two of the representatives told me that the only way to do it was to do it the old-fashioned way. And I was like, no, there's no way that's possible, because I've seen people do it with the ladder and in YouTube videos, but I just couldn't figure out what was different from mine. So I finally was able to figure it out after talking to a third person. So you actually have to add here TIF. Let's add that TIF, add item. Let's go. Okay, it's added. You press OK, and it's right here. So this is a drop box, and this you can decide when you want to trade. And here you can decide to give it an extra command to your actual trade. So if you leave it to day, where it says day, you're actually able to use it during regular market hours. If you use, right here it says extended or EXT, that means that you can trade pre-market or aftermarket hours. Now, if you just went in your pre-market time and try to buy a market order, you're not going to be able to do that. Even if you put here extended hours. The only type of orders that are able to trade during pre-market and aftermarket are limit orders. So you need extra buttons for the buying and selling during pre-market and after hours. And a lot of people do it differently with the limit orders, but I like to use these ones right here that I'm going to add. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to look for buy the ask. So buy the ask, add item. All right, and then the other button is here. It is sell the ask, which when you click on it, it's going to say something else as a button. It's going to say join the ask. Okay, so these are the buttons that I use for the pre-market and aftermarket, which I rarely trade, but I do sometimes. This with the right volume, if the stock has the right volume, these buttons for me work a little bit more like a market order than a limit order, because it's basically you know, joining the line to where the ask or you know, the ask or the bid is. Okay, so those are the ones that I like to use. All right, traders, this is the active trader feature, one of my favorites. Like I said, it is not the same to learn to use all these buttons than to actually execute them and use them properly. So I will be sharing with you later how I use them and the little tricks that I've learned to make things, you know, less stressful in terms of entering and exiting a position. All right, traders, this was Active Trader. This is something that makes my trading possible. I will be sharing with you how I actually use it in action. I will be sharing my strategies with you with actual trades. I believe we have one more video though, talking about my setup, and I really want to go into detail with some of the indicators to show you exactly which ones I actually use and which other ones I think they work well for other types of trading. But for now, I think this is it for today. Look for the link below for those alerts. Also, don't forget to join the Facebook page. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you next week. Adios.